hour about one project at a time. You know, and he would be telling me about Tupac, Biggie, DMX, and the importance of DMX specifically. But everybody hits their rock bottom. So, you know, originally I was, fuck this, I'm depressed, I'm upset, I'm doo-doo-doo, and I'm just, you know, in the rock bottom. It's like when you're growing up as a man with a disability, you know, masculinity and all that is a thing that plays in your head. Mind you, I wasn't raised by my father, an uncle that shook my hand a little too hard.
Yeah, we're here with our boy
Avery On The Beat.
All right, you come to see us, Counting Me Out Productions.
Don't you remember counting me out? Born in December.
Hey, what's up? It's Miss Tosh.
Charismatic.
Yeah, we're here with our boy
Avery On The Beat.
All right, and you come to see us, Counting Me Out Productions, and we're just gonna talk to our boy Abe about some things. I'm excited that you here.
Hell yeah. Of
How
course.
you doing?
Good, tired, working.
Of course.
What you working on?
Man, working on sessions every day, you know, so for starters, I'm doing like 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, like Monday through Thursday. You know what I mean? Usually busiest days. But a lot of major label releases coming up, man. A lot of new plaques on the way, man. So I'm excited for that, man. We're clearing stuff now. So that's kind of taking up my time right now, especially like the paperwork and things like that. But when that comes out, man, it's gonna be crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Well, who you working with right now?
Oh man, I can't say names right this second, but we got an artist on Columbia right now that's dropping in August. We got a record from like 5 years ago that should be on the project, which is real crazy, man, because you know everything he dropped double platinum, you know. So I'm excited for that. I think, you know, people think, oh, okay, you're done making the record, it's good to go. A lot of it is clearance.
Right.
You know, so like a lot of the things with the music is 8 months sometimes or longer before the album releases. You're actually getting the legal stuff done, beat paid for, cleared, vendor forms, tax forms. So we're still even in negotiations, but it's coming. It's coming out.
That's dope. So I know you guys. I feel like you got so many golden nuggets. Like when we come to the studio, you know, we always picking your brain about different things. And so, but can we just like take it back a little bit? Like, who is Avery? Because some people might just know Avery on the Beats, Avery on the Beats, but who is Avery?
Well, I was born here in Springfield, Massachusetts. I came out 3 months early, so I weighed 2 pounds. So that was a different story. I have cerebral palsy from birth, so that was a different one as well. So as far as like that went, right? So I'm born here, came out, now I'm like, okay. The first 3 months I was in the NICU. So no one could touch me for 3 months. Wow. My mom was probably 16, 17. Really, I think growing up, I started listening to music real early. My mom said that she played music for me when I was still in her stomach or whatever back then. I don't know if that had an effect on it. But I mean, I just pulled up when I pulled up. I pulled up 3 months early, and I'm like, okay. As a kid, I was heavily into music always. Like, I was always listening to symphony stuff. My father worked as a truck driver, so we didn't speak a lot. So when he would be traveling around, he would send me these big booklets of CDs that used to clip on the visors of cars.
Yep.
You know?
I remember those.
So he would call me and talk to me for 45 minutes, an hour about one project at a time. You know, and he would be telling me about Tupac, Biggie, DMX, and the importance of DMX specifically. You know, because you're talking about, so I'm just born in 2000. It's Dark and Hell's Hot dropped in 98. That was the first album I had.
Wow.
All right.
Classic.
Yeah, man.
Classic.
It just shapes you as a person when you hear projects like that.
Right.
You know, even with like put me onto the Beastie Boys and Rick Rubin and all these different people. So that kind of shaped my ear for things, right?
But what'd you get out of the DMX thing? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Man, it was just raw. But it sounded different than anything else.
What made him tell you the importance of it?
Just the message. You know what I mean? Maybe as a damn near a fetus, I didn't understand lyrical content, but you could feel it.
Right.
You could feel the energy in records. Like even if you didn't speak English, you could
still feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's facts.
You know. So from there, I was really fascinated with sound and everything like that. I remember I had every Eminem album when it came out, and he was hotter than fish grease. Like Eminem sell 2 million a weekend at that time. He was the guy on the news that they were trying to get rid of.
Right.
Marilyn Manson was another one, which is fire. He's fire. You know, he's like a modern day Alice Cooper if you really think about it. Like, so just the production of these records was so special to me because they etched into my brain as a kid. You know what I mean? Because nobody wanted to hear.
That's deep to have DMX etched in your brain that young.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You know, and I always read the credits. Like, who is Swiss Beats? Who is the engineer? Who is Whoop the Whoop? Because I'm always trying to figure out how do people do that.
Right.
You know? And growing up as a kid, because I was almost like immobile, I was in a wheelchair. So I didn't go outside and run around and do whatever. So I was sitting doing something. Either I was playing video games or I ran into like a beat machine somewhere and I'm just like, what's this do? Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh shit. So I played with it like a toy. Because when I was younger, my aunt was dating this guy who had a home studio. And when I was real young, he showed me what that was. And he told me, you know, if you learn this new software called Fruity Loops, you'll do all the stuff.
Fruity Loops.
That's what it was called. That everything does with this. Because, you know, I was taught on a Korg Triton keyboard. Then you would have synthesizers and you would lay the melodies separate. You would sequence the drums separate on the drum machine. And then you would lay it into tape. Or Pro Tools. And instead of using a tape reel, you would just send everything into Pro Tools and arrange it later. It was a whole process. Like when you were producing a beat, it was a thing of the day.
Right.
You know, and then you would lay the track later, which we don't do now, and just finish it.
Right.
But, you know, like going in school and things like that, I'm already musically driven, so I'm like sitting there in my wheelchair in special ed class because of my mobility. I'm just sitting here like, they really got us learning this shit? Because in my head, I'm like, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to be a part of any of this. I don't want to wheel around and act like I'm going to be able to get a job doing this stuff after I graduate. I don't think that was on my radar either because I just didn't see myself in it.
Right.
You know, not saying that there was nothing wrong with being a firefighter or a police officer or whatever, but I was just like, what is my place? At this point, I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't walk around, but I'm conscious. And you know, when you got a disability and you're growing up, man, people don't treat you the same way. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because as a mom, I have two of my children are autistic. One who was diagnosed at 18 months. My son, he's 8 now, and then my youngest, she's 3, and she's just nonverbal. Right. And so, just thinking about when you have children growing up and they have these different disabilities, a lot of the times I feel like the parents are more concerned than the individual.
1,000%.
And because it seems like my son, if you just see, he's just happy. You know what I'm saying? He's in his own world. He's, you know, and I just love him, and I love him for who he is. You know,
100%.
And so like when you talk about your disability, one thing I could say is that I love how you are always, you know, upfront about it, and you talk about it, and it's just you just know that it's a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you.
1,000%.
You know, I like that
because. You know, my grandmother, I was raised with my great-grandmother. Not my grandma, not my mother, my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother
That's different in itself.
She about 80 now, almost. I'm 76. So in her day, man, they had polio. They had measles. They had all this old school things, but...
I remember that.
She wasn't formally educated in the way that we are now. So she worked in a factory from 16 to 60. So she knew what I had going on, but she always thought there was a will and a way. Even though she didn't know the terms, man, she always was like scared of people being Munchausen's. Munchausen's, as in those parents that baby their kids, especially when they're disabled, and they over coddle them and they don't reach their full potential because like sitting in a classroom with special students, man, I'm analyzing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the paraprofessional teachers learn each student individually, which is the IEP, you have the 504.
Right. Yep.
Man, every student has their way. Every single one of them. Autism, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
They all have their same patterns in communication.
Yep.
So, the average person is going to talk in a puppy dog voice, and it's going to be weird and real, you know. But if you notice, if you learn somebody's patterns, you can communicate with them like this without speaking the same language.
Right.
You get used to it quick. So I think this is before political correction, though. This is before people had new fancy words to reiterate what they're saying, but they don't know what they're even saying.
Right.
This is when you had your assholes over here, your ignorant people over here, the curious people here. You know, where they interested, and then you got people that don't know the right terms, but you know what they mean, and you identify them because you could read energies when you're a disabled person. You can read right through people.
Right.
Which is very interesting. I'm glad I grew up in that era because there was no sugarcoating shit. But people had to learn how to talk to you, and you had to learn how to talk to people.
Right.
And I didn't have a cell phone until I was 15.
Right.
I think I'm the last era of people that partially grew up without a cell phone. But yeah, I think that.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Yeah, you're definitely that last generation.
23. So, but you know, yeah, you know that was the thing. So, I was already pissed at school because I'm like, I'm in this wheelchair. I'm mad as hell. I ain't running around with other kids. I ain't whatever. I got through it. I eventually, as I'm going to Shriners for my checkups and treatments, because I was diagnosed at 3, which is usually the earliest age you could tell if you're not walking, rolling over a certain way, sitting up. So I never sat up. I never did any of that. I military crawled everywhere. Like this.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So I was a little belt at the top for 4.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I gotta find the picture for you because it's different.
Please find them, please.
Yeah,
yes.
So at that point, Shriners had said, you know, we could do this surgery for you, and it's a gait surgery, and it was intense, you know. But I don't know nothing, you know. I've had cast before. I've had Botox injections by that time, and they just kind of came out, but it wasn't for cosmetic reasons. Like they were just trying to see how my muscles would respond if they were corrected because I'm not having any growth spurts yet. So the idea of cerebral palsy being that it's neurological, your brain doesn't communicate to your muscles on the growth. You know, so your ligaments are still this big when you're going like this. It's like a rubber band that stretches, and it could snap. Because your brain is like telling your muscles to clench up like this, like a fist, and never shuts off. So then you don't sleep at night sometimes. You gotta long showers, take care of yourself. You know, they said, Joe, we could do this surgery and we could restructure how he walks. If he could step his foot to the ground, he could stand. At this time, my heels are suspended in the air like this on my toes because my ligaments are tight like rubber bands. So the idea was to cut those, cut the hamstrings and restretch them, cut the quad muscles, restretch them, and then start from square one. So I had that surgery. It was probably 12 hours long.
Wow.
I was at Shriners Hospital.
And how old were you at this
7.
time? 7? Wow.
So I'm just thinking I'm going to go to sleep, wake up in a cast like usual. It'll be fine. Because I'm not scared of no doctor. Thank God my pediatrician gave me the best doctors. She crossed out names on lists when I got sheets. And
That's good because I feel like that says a lot about health. You know, it's very important to make sure you have your right doctors and stuff like that because they're not just sending you anywhere that, you know, some doctors just want the paycheck, you know, let's be real. But for her to really like, no, I think you should go here or do this or work with that person or whatever, like that's dope. So like she like almost handpicked a team for you. And so when you say Shriners, you're talking about Shriners Hospital.
Shriners Hospital for Children here in Springfield.
So the one that we always see commercials for.
Man, that's a hell of a place.
Wow.
Because you go in there, it's like a whole universe of these special doctors, and it's so nice looking. And you know, if you're a visit, like they really do give a shit about their job. You know what I mean? It's not a money grab. It's not and the commercials aren't like the ASPCA commercials where you don't know where it's going. That literally will go straight into their pocket.
Wow. Okay.
A1. You know what I'm saying? So anything donated is legitimate. You know. But yeah, so at that point, I had the surgery. Man, I woke up and I got an epidural in my back.
I know how that feels.
I do too. I'm one of the men in this room that might only be the only man in this room that don't know.
More than likely.
Yeah, because you know, I use that to my advantage. Shorty's like, you don't know the pain of childbirth.
Somewhat. I think I kind of. Yeah, you can be in line to understand that.
So I'm in this hospital room, man. You know, and I just start to feel like jolts of shock, which is like my muscles are literally contracting from the inside in my back and everything because my brain has cerebral palsy, so it's clenching everything, but they just got sliced, so they're relaxed and it's just convulsing. So from the inside, I was getting these muscle spasms that would send me into like these pass out fits, and I started to pass out.
Wow.
Yeah, it hurts so bad.
Ooh.
And the epidural, they put it in me, and you get damn near numb, paralyzed type numb.
Yep.
However,
Can't feel nothing.
I felt something because I got spider tingling sensation throughout my body when they put that in me.
Yep.
So I was, I don't know, I had a reaction to it. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going through the motions, I'm taking steps, and I feel I got about 6 foot long scars on, you know, going from my knees to my hamstrings to my quad muscles, and they're fresh, but I have to relearn how to walk. So I'm taking my first steps, and I feel the tension, and I'm redoing this, and I got immobilizers holding my muscles in place, the Forrest Gump braces, the AFO braces. You know,
You said the Forrest Gump braces?
that's why I refer them to the people that don't know what AFO braces are. It's what he had on, but they're not made of steel.
That's why you always say
The Forrest Gump braces, because you know what they look like.
Yeah.
And they're custom made to your feet. So the idea is like a corset for your bones. So if you step into a cast and get a cast made, you cut the cast off. They form it in plaster and hollow it out. Now you're able to step into it like a shoe, like an inner sole, but it goes up to your knee. And it's an exact replica of your foot, but it has corrections in the plastic to guide your feet to step a certain way. Because the idea, if you're flat-footed and you have never walked, you don't have an arch yet. So you need to make one.
Right.
So you need to walk through those, and you stand up straight, but it hurts like hell. But you know, it's so you don't hyperextend nothing.
Right.
And that was part one. Also just ditching, you know, starting with a walker, crutches, wheelchair, you know, so that was a process. I got referred to physical therapy, and I went for 20 years, 3 times a week.
Wow. You said for 20 years?
Yeah, I just stopped 2 years ago.
Wow.
3 years ago.
That's deep.
Wow.
Same guy, same place, same office since I was a kid.
Wow.
And
That's dope.
you know, I didn't care. I didn't have nothing to do. I was 7. But keep in mind, when you're growing up and you're learning, we don't even teach us anymore cursive,
Right.
English.
Yeah, they don't teach that anymore. That's not in the curriculum.
History. I'm like, what the fuck do I care about cursive? You know, I'm trying to figure out how to walk. I'm like, okay, I can walk now. I'm going to be like everybody else. But after the recovery, I had to use crutches and figured that out. And, you know, I think we don't realize is that with cerebral palsy, your muscles don't communicate to your brain. So you have to calculate every fucking step. You don't just... You have to left foot, right foot, curb, ice. Is there a railing on this? Is there changing the gravel, the terrain? Like,
wow.
You got to make sure, because you don't do this. I'm stepping. I'm not gliding. I don't know arches.
Right.
So you just...
wow.
But I'm making it work because I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? And at that point, I was pumped up on a bunch of medications, a bunch of things. So, different side effects, like anger and rage and different steroids and stuff.
So let me ask you a question, though. Do you feel like going through the different things that you went through, learning how, you know, the surgeries, learning how to walk and things like that, do you feel like that mentally helped you even when it comes down to what you do as far as, you know, how successful you are? Because a lot of times we use what we've been through in order to get to where we're going. You know what I'm saying? And we use it as a driving force.
Right.
So do you feel like, because some people could have been like, you know what, forget it, I can't walk, just, you
Right.
know, and just gave up.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't give up. You
No.
just kept going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so how do you think that connects to like where you are now?
So I mean, there is a connection to it, but I don't think it's the disability part. I think it's that in every successful person's story, they always have their rock bottom that they hit. Every single one.
First you hit
From-
rock bottom.
We could talk about Colonel Sanders. We could talk about Al Copeland from Popeyes, being a poor man that ended up handling his business. We can talk about the guy who invented ramen noodles, who solved hunger in, I don't know if it was China or Japan, one of them countries. And they had all this surplus of this, and then he did that. But everybody hits their rock bottom. So, you know, originally I was, fuck this, I'm depressed, I'm upset, I'm doo-doo-doo, and I'm just, you know, in the rock bottom.
Right.
And I mean, I wanted to play football or something.
So around what age was that?
Man, forever, I think I just didn't identify. I didn't think I was upset. I didn't think I was frustrated. But I think since I was here, you know. So, but you know, my family, my grandmother had a way of saying things, you know. She said, just anything that you do, just do it well. There was never no talk of no mental depression and anxiety.
Right.
No, this is real shit.
Facts.
Real shit.
I mean, and I mean, even she thought you know, the doctor, there was a quack or two before my real doctor came through. There was a quack or two that, you know, handled their business, and they said, well, he might have autism. I said, or my grandmother said, oh, bullshit. Because it was a hot topic back then. It just came out as a big deal, and people were still trying to figure out what it all was, what spectrums were. Well,
They're still trying to figure it out now.
they're practicing medicine.
Yeah.
So, the reason why wasn't anything having to do with any checklist. It was actually, I always slammed cabinets for hours. Cabinets. Kitchen, boom, 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 hours, boom. If I saw a light switch, I had to flick it.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, how the hell he ain't know that's cool as hell? How you flick one switch and the whole room light? How the hell is that cool for a 3-year-old?
Right.
And I'm making this noise at this cabinet, and it just keeps. You know, that kind of started something.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, I didn't have autism. And funny thing is, they actually thought I would have had to have a shunting put in my head. You know,
what?
A shunt. They drill it in your head, in your brain, and it helps your brain fluids go where they need to go.
I've dealt with that too. I almost had to get that. That's a whole nother situation.
Swear to God. And they said, Joe, but if you do this now, you can't really go back.
They wasn't
It's
just
2000.
CPR that young.
No WebMD right like that.
Yeah.
There was medical books. I mean, you know, you didn't know. You were just running the races. So, yeah, I mean, really, it was a fight, but that's all I knew. So I didn't even compare anything. So you don't have any like, wow, that's hard. I don't know. I'm chilling, right? So then I get to music class, man. I'm about 7. And this is when Soulja Boy just came out. This is when crunk started taking over. Because I'm a rap head. My Saturday mornings consisted of, you know, BET used to play music, and they used to have live performances every day. You know, like MTV2, and you'd have Lil Jon was hotter than shit back then. And you had D4L was down south.
Since 03, 04.
What? And I just remember, and I'm just like, this shit is crazy. And I'm just like, I was in school band a lot. I played bass. Eventually, I learned how to play bass and do all that. But I wanted to do everything. I didn't want to learn one instrument at a time. And I'm sitting down all the time, so I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. You know, and I just did it to do it. And then a couple years passed by, and I ended up going through some life shit where, because I had cerebral palsy, not every school is good at accommodating students.
Right.
So I was living in Springfield, but they didn't want me going to school in no badass school at the time. So they put me in South Hadley by faking my address. So I can go to a better district.
Yep.
Right.
And this is, you know, for disabled people everywhere, because not all schools, not all staff, not all nothing is created equal. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Facts.
So I'm in South Hadley. The suburb schools, like a big surprise, have a better special education program and accommodations and shit like that. So I'm in South Hadley, and I get caught faking my address years later. So at this point, I'm in 8th grade, They sent me back to Springfield in 2 seconds. Never have I went to a school like that. Now, mind you, if you're going to school in the suburbs, at this school, we didn't even call each other by the teachers by their Mr. or Mrs. We called them by their first name. That's how it was. Then keep in mind, I know it's iffy out here in Springfield with the kids being bad or whatever, but I didn't know the difference. So I get sent over. I'm disabled. I'm in a new school. You know, we're wearing uniforms now. I get up. Dave, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. That's how it was. Okay, be back. Or you bring food into the classroom, you can eat. They don't care. So I go to Van Sickle. This is before it got shut down.
Wow.
Because it got shut down. Teacher had died there not too long before that. They're getting stabbed.
Van Sickle, man.
It was, you know, all of them were like that. But the kids were getting manhandled by the police in the school. Like grown men. They were getting slammed. They were getting handcuffed. They were getting tackled. All types of shit. I have cerebral palsy. I'm scared.
Right.
Because flip of that is, in the suburbs, all the white kids would make fun of me. They'd all think shit is cute, things a joke. So I'm thinking, oh man, if I'm in the hood and somebody tries to beat me up, that's what I'm thinking. Nobody ever made fun of me, actually. Nobody ever treated me differently, which is I thought was very different from where I came from. So I felt at ease. But I was still a little nervous of all the action that was going on. But I noticed, like, everybody was banging on tables and rapping. You know, like, I was prepubescent. I was like, I know how to make beats. You know, because I had some type of knowledge about this FL Studio thing. And then, you know, we still had CDs. So I burnt beat CDs. And I would sling them at the lunch table.
Man, that's fire, bro. I wish that was happening my time. Bro.
That's dope.
Yeah,
that's
man.
dope. That's dope.
And eventually that's what I did. That's what I did. I was the beat guy. And I'm like, okay. And they thought I was selling dope. So I got hassled and wait, money transactions, solicitation. I said, I sell music. Oh. So So at this point, I'm getting more comfortable in my skin. You know, I'm getting more acquainted. I'm getting more, okay, this is who I am. This is what I got going on. And I'm cool here. I'm cool so far. Badass school. But to get by, I was the class clown. Bruh. I was the class clown every time. But I'll make people laugh. So, but one day, I don't know if we was playing, yo, mama's so fat, you do. You know, it's cool. But this other white kid that was in the class, because you got the cool white kid it looked like to people, and you have the kid who gets wedgies. Because, you know, and I was just the mutual one.
Wait.
We don't let it cook. We don't let it marinate.
Yeah.
Let's let it marinate.
Because I just had a whole visual of two.
Oh, you're probably close.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, yo.
And he the one that, when he get butt hurt, he kick you in the, you know, metaphorically, he say some shit you're not supposed to. When he's losing. Well, you know, and then they hit you with it. Well, he said something about me being a cripple or something. That's a classic one. That one's, you know, OG. That's not really, doesn't hit too many nerves, because everybody say that.
Like, I've heard that
anything
before.
else? Like, so then he said, I said, if you say that again, I'm going to kick your ass. But I'm saying this because I'm assuming that people are holding me to the same standard to fight people if they check me. Not realize, man, I'm disabled, man. They ain't going to expect me to do that. But in my head, I'm thinking, man, I'm in this environment. I'm around these people. And I'm going to make sure that this don't happen again. So in my head, I had to do it just to do it. Because I didn't want people to think I was a bitch. Now, looking forward, that wouldn't have been a problem. And we got more experiences as a grown man that happened too. We're going with this is step one. So now I walk up to him. You know, I got my limp, but I stand up. I ain't standing up for shit. I said, get the fuck up. And then he stood up. But now I'm thinking I'm going to be mad. I'm going to hit him with a good one. And I'm going to woo, woo, woo. But yo, just like in A Christmas Story, when Buddy snapped. Just like when Buddy snapped and he never fought. Woo. Yo, I blinked and I remember all my feeling in my body left. And I just watched my hands. And in slow motion, everything moved.
You blacked out. I know that. Yeah.
And you think it would be satisfying. But it was scary. Because I think I wanted to kill that kid. And I would have had the cop. Let's back it up. He said that. I watched this happen now. And I'm just seeing this. And you could have put classical music in the background. You could have put dun, 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 dun. Yeah, all that. Because that's how I describe it. And it's December.
In slow motion.
Dun, 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 dun. You know? And, you know, and I'm just watching that. I'm like, boom, 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 uppercut, boom. And then I'm thinking this whole time, maybe the class is cheering. Maybe it's going in chaos. I'm thinking the teacher's going to pull us off. Bro, the substitute teacher, I don't even know her name. She watched it. Her mouth was open. And she watched it and just waited till I was finished. And then called the cop. And then it's dead silent in this room. You could hear a pin drop. And they said that they heard the punches. And I was talking to a kid who joined my Instagram live yesterday. I remember when you... Yo. Yeah. Man, he said it sounded like wood getting smacked with a hammer. And he said it was the most disturbing punch sounds he's ever heard. And that... At this point, I don't feel anything. And I clipped the steel, chair a couple times. And then I clipped his teeth a couple times, and I sliced my whole arms up off his front teeth of his braces.
Wow.
The blood everywhere from his teeth hitting me, and I just wouldn't stop. And, eventually, man, the kid's out. He's, like, just sitting there, and he's all bloodied up, and my hands are hurting. I, ended up breaking a finger off his head. And then I had to go get a penicillin shot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very numb and I felt like a robot. And I thought I would be satisfied. But honestly, after that, the cop came in. He said, hey, yo, word? He's like, yo, you want to go home, bro? I was like, yeah, it's okay. We're going to go. We're going to take you home. You good, man? Yeah, you handle your business, man. That's what you got to do. Yeah, so it's Christmas weekend. I'm thinking my grandma going to get mad at me. I'm thinking I ain't going to get nothing for Christmas. She laughed so hard. She said, oh, shit. I know you get... Oh, boy. I know you get him off him. So, funny thing is, what I respected about this situation, there was no mediation. There was no coddling. There was no nothing. And we dusted ourselves off days later. Seen him in the hall. Eventually, we not cool with seen him. Still talking to him. Hey, you good? Yeah. We shook hands and we were cool after. We became friends after. But... I was like, I had to do what I had to do, but you cool though? He's like, no, I actually didn't think he was going to do that. I said, yeah, me neither. Yeah. And I was alright. And we became friends and that was it. And in my head, my grandmother always told me, man, if people did that more, man, people wouldn't get shot.
Right. That's right.
Because men are like this. So you just get your shit off, you good, you dust yourself off, you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, okay, that's how I figured. Because you go to a teacher, you do all this stuff, man, it's all protocol. But, people at that time were killing themselves from bullying.
Yeah.
There was a girl in my district.
That was that time.
I was there for that. You know what I mean? I ran into the girl in the hallway sometimes. She was before my time, but I've ran into her. South Hadley got 20,000 people living there. I mean, so it was a whole thing because in the suburbs, everything's cute to them. Everything was a joke. Everything was yeah, boy. When I went there, shit was just handled a different way.
Right.
Once I got used to the environment, I wasn't so nervous. I was actually comfortable because I knew if anybody fucked with me, nobody was gonna let it happen. Mm-hmm. And so then I kind of carried towards that crowd more. And when I was the music guy, man, I had really nothing to worry about. Mm-hmm. But going forward, that's when this new music started coming out. I started taking it more serious because I was getting so many affirmations from just the small shit of selling CDs as a kid.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they did what they did, but then Chief Keef comes out and he changed the sound of the music, and I started emulating what that sound was to try to sell these beats on the internet.
Sound.
Because you still sold beats on SoundClick.
SoundClick. I almost thought he was about to say SoundCloud, but no. SoundClick. I know,
SoundClick.
You just brought it back.
Or PNP Worldwide, or Taxi. Or Rock Battle, or Reverb Nation. It's still there, but that was the shit. And I think I sold my first beat for $20. It was a hell of a $20. And I was like, holy shit. Well, I just started to focus and study. And I remember my aunt went to high school in Chicopee County, and there was a guy that was a friend of hers. And she brought my name up, and he was a recording engineer for this producer named SK.
SK from here, right? Springfield?
he was doing an internship and he was getting credit for something, recording vocals with him. So I was introduced to him by my aunt and the intern Lennon, and he became really my first artist. I had nothing to do with it, just giving him all beats. He was making songs to them. I was seeing how it would translate.
Right.
Well, he introduced me to SK, and I said I want to collab with him. And he was like, unless it's a major label thing, like I don't really do collabs. But Lennon made it work. He got him to do it. But SK didn't know I was 14 at this point.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Miss Tosh from Counting Me Out Productions, and I hope you are excited as well as I am about this next episode. We got Charles Evans from 413 Elite. Oh, this is going to be fire, so I hope you're going to be ready for this. So stay tuned. Counting Me Out Productions, Miss Tosh, I'm out. Peace.